Okay, welcome back to the show. And today I'm joined by a man that you may know as Michael Myers, but Mr. Brad Loree. How are you doing today, man?
Fantastic. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. We're just having a great conversation there off camera. Sometimes the best podcasts are the ones that ain't recorded.
Well, that's just it. This is when you get the dirt you and I were talking about. Can't air
For
that.
for the dirt, for the dirt, you can tune in next week.
Maurice, how does this work now? Is it this is live or do you edit this and show it later?
I don't edit it unless my internet, which has been dodgy today, completely fucks up. So this is just a straight through conversation.
I got you. Okay, right on.
Yeah, we're not live at the moment, but this will be out
I got
in a
you.
week's time.
Gotcha. In a
Yeah.
week's time?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I got a leaf blower out the window here, so
it was bound to happen.
It was bound to happen.
Look, there's only one place to start, and I think all the fans will want to start here. You know what I'm talking about, man. It's the time you went to Ireland.
Yes, that would have been that was what year? That would have been like September of 1987. Long time ago. I was on a
year before I was born.
A year before you were born. Oh, there was my back. You just reminded me how old I am. I was on a 1 year around the world trip, and I was in Europe for 5 months, and I had just spent a month with my brother hitchhiking through Europe. And when we came out of Morocco, he went north and I went west to Portugal, and I worked my way up to Calais and then took the ferry over to Ireland. Very rough trip, and spent a week and a half in Ireland, then went over to Scotland. And anyway, made a 6-week journey after we had parted, and met my brother again in the south of London, and hung out with him for another week, and then he went one way and I went the other. He ended up going back to Canada because he got laid off from his job in Croydon. So, but yeah, no, I loved Ireland. The name Loree, our last name Loree, as the story goes, was originally Lowry. And I guess in the 16th century, the King of France said anybody living in Europe could practice any religion they wanted. So all these Hugarites, I think they were called, or anyway, they all came to France. The next king said, "You're either RC or get the heck out." So everybody either went home or, and then John Loree, and that Irish name Lowry became Loree. He came to Manhattan, and they spread out from there. It's a very rare name in the east and the west side of North America, but apparently it's a little more common back east. So anyway, that's my story.
Yeah, so you've got kind of heritage a little bit over here, you were saying, and Norway as well.
Norway, my second and third cousins live there. I actually was in Trondheim, and I was actually in the house where my grandmother was born. Wow. She was only 6 or 7 though when she came over from Norway to Canada, and she married a guy who was born and raised in Minnesota, and then they moved to Saskatchewan. I don't know where they met, but they ended up raising my mom's family in Saskatchewan, of all places.
For yourself then, how did you decide, or how did it happen that you wanted to be involved in some way and form in the movie/TV industry, and did it interest you at a young age?
Oh yeah, I was a huge movie fan since I was a little boy. My father and I never really got along, so I think like 2 hours in the movie theater was like an escape, And when I was 13, I went and saw my first Bruce Lee film. Fell in love with Bruce Lee in the martial arts, joined the local karate school. My instructor was a green belt named Tony Morelli. He went on to become a professional full contact fighter, kickboxer. He won the WKA World Cruiserweight Kickboxing title. Because of his fame of the sport, he started doing commercials, local commercials. Excuse me. This is when the film industry was first coming up to Vancouver from LA. And anyway, he just got dragged into the stunt scene by the stunt community at the time, and because I was his protege, I got sort of dragged along, and then here I am today, all these years later. Did my first stunt in 1983, 4, so that was a while ago. and I still do the odd job on easy days. We have days that are easier than others, of course. So, but my specialty at one time was what they call stunt actor, because if they can hire a stunt guy to say 2 or 3 lines before he gets shot or goes down the stairs, it saves production money. Plus, as a stunt guy, you get an extra 50% because you're saying dialogue. So it kind of all evens out. So that's where I'm at today.
Yeah. What do you prefer? Do you prefer like just an acting role, or is it all about the stunts for you and do you get kind of a buzz out of it?
I'm supposed to say it's about the stunts, but I only got into stunts because I knew somebody, and for what I could do, because I was somewhat athletic, it was fairly easy. You know, I mean, it was hard on the body at times, of course, but I would much rather just be the guy that says the lines and then goes back to his room and flirts with the wardrobe girls. Um, I don't have a lot of experience of any roles of size, but I'm hoping to do more as I get older because I'm not competing with the young studs out of LA anymore. I'm in my 60s. I'm a middle-aged character actor, which is the people they tend to hire locally, here in Vancouver, as opposed to casting them out of Hollywood. So, yeah.
What is it about Vancouver? It seems like to me that there's a lot of stuff going on there and has been going on with movies. Like, is that kind of the Hollywood area of Canada, like compared to
We
America?
call it they call it Hollywood North. Toronto's very big as well back east. But the thing about Vancouver, Maurice, is if you're a producer from LA, you could be on set till Friday afternoon, and then run out to the airport and be home for dinner. We're only a 2-hour flight to LA, hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever it is, if it's a straight flight. And but it is so much cheaper up here because our dollar's always 25% cheaper. As I understand it, to build sets in Vancouver it's 70% cheaper than down in Hollywood. Of course, the movie industry burned out a lot of their ability to shoot in LA. I mean, they just don't have they don't have the logistics, and so it's very expensive to close streets in LA. Vancouver is a little used to be tricky to make it look like a big urban American city, but we're getting more and more high rises all the time. So, but whenever they shoot a movie in Vancouver, it takes place in Seattle, which is just
Is
2
that what
hours
they say?
down the I-5. So it all looks the same.
In terms of stunt work, what's the most dangerous thing that you think you've ever done?
Well, the one stunt where I was really nervous about, if it goes wrong, it's going to go really wrong. I was doubling an actor on a really low budget TV show called Mantis. This gentleman was an African American scientist by day and a crime fighter at night, but he was in a wheelchair. And the guy that I doubled was an alien that they abducted, and he broke loose, and he runs and jumps out of the building from the 3rd story, out of this 8-foot by 8-foot window, and he lands down below and knocks out these other 2 guards and runs off. But so we rehearsed it in the daytime with a nice big ramp, blue sky. But when we went to shoot it, it was at night, and now they've got all these lighting flags in my way. And Ken Kersinger was originally supposed to do the stunt, and they actually sized him for the wardrobe. So the very last thing they did, Maurice, wardrobe comes up with the boots I was supposed to wear. This is right before we went to shoot this. I've been on set now 13 hours because the character was silver. He was all silver like an alien. He was bald. He's got this big rifle rack on his back and all this weird costume. And these boots they brought up were these brand new knee-high, concrete stiff motorcycle boots that were 2 sizes too small. So I had to cram my feet into these boots, run down this ramp along the edge of the ramp now because of these flags, and jump through this window. And the scary part, Maurice, was I'm jumping out of the 3rd floor window. The 1st floor down below, two flights below, had like a patio that extended out from the building with these big concrete balcony and railings and whatnot. So more than a high jump, the danger was that it was a long jump, because it was the only time stunt coordinator ever took me aside and said, "Look, if you land short, don't try and save yourself and roll in. roll it this way. He said, I don't, if things go wrong, Brad, I don't think it'll kill you, but you're going to be pretty messed up, because even though they blow the window for you, Maurice, it's still a big, heavy sheet of glass. And I've seen stunts where even smaller windows, guys hit the window, and the timing isn't right and stops them dead. And one guy dropped into the sill of the window and sliced his knee all up and had to have surgery. Blah blah blah. But what has happened, if this window slowed me up, I might have fallen short. I made it into the airbag, but just on the rehearsals, I was clearing the railing by 15 feet. When we shot it, I cleared it by 4 feet. So, but that was the one where but the director loved it. He had 5 cameras. He used 4 of the angles when he cut it together, just to air it on TV. So that was the one that had me nervous. Anyway,
I am pretty sure that I had Ken on the show last year. I'm pretty sure that he told me that same story about him not doing that.
Well, he had some knee injuries playing football in university, and he was also supposed to play in the pro league up here. And then before he actually even got to his first game, he blew his knee out. And Kenny still has knee issues, and he was really like I said, it was that long jump, and he didn't think he was going to have the strength to make that long jump. And I don't blame him. I just wish I didn't have to wear his boots. Big boots to fill. But Kenny, you see, is my buddy Tony, the karate guy I was telling you about. He's the one that brought me up. But he knew I wanted to be an actor, and I kind of looked up to him to the point where I never really got it in my head that I would ever be I could make a living as a stunt guy, because those guys were up here and I was down here. But Ken Kersinger is the one that took me aside one day, and he said, Brad, if you get a headshot and a resume and a pager, I'll take you around and introduce you to everybody you need to know. Excuse me. And so Tony opened the door, but Ken's the one that pushed me through it. So I always attribute Kenny for having given me my career and my life. So and here I am now talking to you because I've been in the film industry. So it's all thanks to Ken.
Yeah. Here you are talking to me now, and how far you've fallen now on this little show here now.
Oh, I love it. I love it. This is as close to celebrity as I'll ever get. Ken and I are going. Ken's coming to Chicago with me in 4 weeks. He'll be at that show. He and I were supposed to go to Europe this year, but that show got postponed in Amsterdam. So, but we're going to Chicago together.
He was a really, really nice guy, and he seems like a really nice guy when I was talking to him as well.
Yeah.
So the one thing that you and Ken have in common is that you were both notorious serial killers in different franchises.
Well, yeah, I was doing this wrestling show, actually, Maurice, a low budget show for Fox called Los Luchadors, and we finished the first season, and everybody goes off to find their next job. And the first AD was interviewing with the Halloween people, and they said, they didn't know who they were going to use for their Canadian stunt coordinator, and they hadn't found their Michael Myers yet. Oh, you should talk to Brad Loree. This guy says, I'm driving in my car. I get this call from this woman I never met. She says, how tall are you, Brad? I says, I'm 6'2.5". She says, oh, great. Can you come in tomorrow to meet the executives? So I went in there, Maurice, with no intention. It was just a professional courtesy, because, I knew the show that I was on was coming back for a second season, and I was the coordinator and the stunt double. So I was, making very good money. And, but, I'm not a horror guy, but I really really appreciated the first Halloween movie. I think it's a classic. And so when I went in there and I did the walk for the director, Rick Rosenthal, and they said, okay, Brad, now if we haven't looked at anybody else, but if you get the job, we're going to send you to LA to cast your head and all this and that. And I said, well, I got to go all the way to LA just to double how many actor. They says, no, you're not going to double the guy. You're going to be the guy. And when they told me I was going to be Michael Myers, the actor in me said, Brad, you got to do this. So I ended up passing on the show I had just come from, took the job, got the Halloween part, and the rest is history. Then they came to do the Jason versus Freddy, and one of the big producers on the Jason show had seen me in an interview on set. And he was really impressed, apparently, with how much thought I had put into why Michael Myers was the way Michael Myers was. Like, I didn't just go from here to there and stab the guy. I thought about the process. And anyway, so he brought me in to meet the director to play Jason. But Ronnie Young, or whatever his name is, he said I wasn't tall enough. So then they had this big giant cattle call. And I was like, if I get it, I was praying for Ken, and it came back because they'd interviewed Ken as a stunt coordinator, but they went and looked at all these dozens and hundreds of guys, and they came back and they ended up going with Ken. So I was so happy about that. So yeah, now we get to go do these shows. I mean, his show was much more popular, and he gets to travel a little bit more than I do. But when we get to do it together, it's always a lot of fun.
Yeah. Are you guys kind of coming from the same city?
Yeah, like I could ride my bicycle and be at Ken's place in less than 20 minutes. My bicycle.
Wow.
To drive to the place would take me like 7 minutes. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So you said that you'd seen the first Halloween and that you liked that, but you're not really a horror guy. But does it feel good to be involved when you look back on time, like to be involved in like one of the biggest franchises ever in terms of horrors?
Absolutely. I had no idea. I had no idea about these. There was conventions and this and that. It's just that when I was 19, I was dating this girl who was way out of my league. I was so enamored with her, but so we only went to the movie. She only wanted to see horror movies, and I hated these things. I saw the first Friday the 13th with her, and Phantasm, and Exorcist, and all these, and I was just like So when I broke up with her, I thought, well, I was really heartbroken, but I thought at least I never have to watch a horror film again. And then like the next week, everybody's talking about this Halloween movie. And I said, I don't care. I'm not interested, but people wouldn't shut up. They tell you the story from forwards and backwards. And then my cousin Diana said, you know, Brad, I really enjoyed the movie. And I so respected her taste that I can't even remember the first time I saw it, but I know I watched it alone. I must have just rented it from the VHS. And I remember halfway through the movie, I was thinking to myself, this movie is it's a great film. It's not bloody, it's not gory, it's not overly violent, but I'm biting my nails. I'm on the edge of my seat. So when they offered me the part to play Michael Myers, I couldn't say no. And I'm telling you, Maurice, if it had been Jason, if it had been any other horror character, I don't know that I wouldn't have passed, because I had this other show to go back to, and I had a really good experience. So, like I said, was making phenomenal money. But when they said you're going to be Michael Myers, I thought, well, and now I get to do these conventions, get to do these podcasts, and it's a lot of fun. I've made friends all over the world because of it. So I'm and the wrestling show, second season, Maurice, my buddy Dean ended up taking it. They did the first episode, the second episode. In the middle of the third episode, the producers walked on set, pulled the plug, and said, "That's it, we're shutting down." And so
you made the right choice.
I made the right choice. Sometimes your gut tells you where to go. Huh? So anyway, it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I seen that you worked stunts on the Child's Play remake movie in 2019. Yes. What did you do on that? I'm a big Chucky fan. Now, obviously, the remake with the Chucky fans is a bit kind of...
Yeah, well, I don't know anything about the Chucky franchise, except dolls creep me out. Like, that's the thing about Chucky. I was just in I was in a shopping market, and the lights go out, and suddenly he's going around killing everybody. So I was just running around. We all had blood all over us, and there was just the one night I worked on it. Yeah.
It was also filmed in Canada, I think, was it?
Yeah, that was filmed up here in Vancouver. Yeah. I mean, sometimes when you work on a show, the working title is different what the release title is. So people, I remember this one kid was saying, "You worked on Cabin in the Woods?" Like, well, that doesn't ring a bell. What's on your resume? And I go, well, I don't know who put that on there, because I don't put any BS on my. But the show that I worked on became titled Cabin in the Woods after I worked on it, so I had no idea. But anyway, I've never seen it.
It's a decent horror, I have to say.
Maurice, what did you think of the new Halloween? I haven't seen it yet. Halloween Kills.
Yeah, I thought it was good. It was very gory, very gory.
Was it? I haven't seen it. I'll watch it. Jamie Lee's in it, but because I love Jamie.
Yeah, I think it's kind of one of those things where how many more can they really make at this point? As much as people love it,
I guess we're going to find out next October.
Yeah.
There's another one coming out. There's one next October's Halloween Ends, and supposedly. But anyway, it'd be interesting to see what happens with the franchise after that, because Jamie won't do any more after that. I don't think. Mind you, she said that before.
Yeah. What did you see? Did you see Rob Zombie's versions?
I saw the first one, and I can't say
Yeah.
and I heard from the most hardcore Halloween fans that the second one was no good, and I didn't like
No,
the
it
first one,
wasn't.
so I've never seen this. I should watch it because being an integral part of the franchise, you don't want to say you never saw all of them. Because I studied all the ones before me before I did Resurrection, but Rob Zombies, I just felt it took a lot away of the mystique of who and what exactly Michael Myers was. I felt he was way too large. It's part of the eeriness about him. The creepiness is his supernatural strength. Well, when they're 7 feet tall, it'd be a comedy if he was that big and not super strong.
Yeah.
So I just I didn't. I mean, I didn't like the Rob Zombie version. Nothing against Rob, but
Yeah.
even his Devil's Rejects, I watched that for 20 minutes. And had to turn. It's not my thing.
It's a totally different style.
Totally different style.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch The Exorcist here in a couple of days. They've got a director's version on TV that I'm recording, but because I met Linda Blair at a show. But no, a horror's not my thing. I'm not going to see the new Top Gun either. Don't get me wrong, but
Horror's not my thing, says Michael
horror's not
Myers.
my thing, and neither is promoting American military. So
Let's talk about, you touched on it, the convention world, which you're lucky enough to be involved in now through horror. How
yeah,
cool is that?
oh, it's fantastic. I mean, I've been now to Europe a bunch of times. All expenses paid, and I would really. That's why I'm saying to you, if you ever hear of something going on in Ireland, give me a thumbs up because there's a number of cities in the States that I haven't been to yet that I'm hoping to do through the convention world. Chicago's one of them, so I'll check that off this next month. And I love to travel. When I was 10 years old, my teacher, Mr. Redlack, social studies, the whole year was just slideshows of his travels, and this guy had been everywhere. So as a 10-year-old, I had the love of travel instilled in me, very very ingrained in me, and that's why I took off for a year around the world. And a month would be the maximum I'd want to leave home now for now, but because I'm a little older and I like to be a little more comfortable. But these free weekends away, I love them. Don't make a ton of money at them, but if it covers my burgers and beers and I can make some new friends, and especially if I get to go with Ken, because he's a little bit of a nervous Nelly when it comes to traveling. He's always entertaining.
I'm the same. He doesn't like flying, no.
He doesn't like flying. He's too big for the seats, for one thing, and yet they won't fly in first class. He always tries to get the emergency aisle because those seats are a little deeper. But he's also, when you get to the airport, he doesn't want to go into the pub or the restaurant until he walks that 40 miles down to the end of the gate to see.
Oh, he's one of those.
Yeah, he's got to touch the gate to know that know exactly where the gate is, and then we can go back to the restaurant and have a glass. He's just really funny that way. And if we have to get to the airport or get anywhere, he wants to go 3 times as early as you need to be. But hey, better safe than sorry. So I mean, I'm happy. It's because of him I get to do all this. I never let him pay for anything when we're together because I owe it all to him. So he's one of my oldest and dearest friends, and we're having a lot of fun still. Because we're not going to do this forever.
Yeah.
George, I'm good friends with Gina Wilbur, George Wilbur's daughter, and George is he's 80, but he's only 80, and he's having a tough time right now apparently. So I'm really sorry to hear that because he's not doing any more conventions apparently. And Dick Warlock's talking about retiring. Well, he's retired 2 or 3 times now. So anyway,
Yeah. The what was I going to say? Oh yeah, I was like, in terms of the airport, I like getting to the airport early, but then I like going straight to the bar for 5, 6, 7, 8 drinks, however many, and then getting on the flight and having a great time.
yeah, it's the only way to go.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
because I'm not the greatest flyer either. But when
Are
I
you a little
have,
nervous? Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
when I have, you can imagine how much beers I had going to America, because my flight was at I think it was 11 a.m. and we got there at 5:30. So
Jeepers. So you flew from where to where? First flight.
from Dublin to Chicago, and then from Chicago to Dallas.
Ooh, okay. Well, the Chicago to Dallas must have felt like a puddle jump compared to the trip from Dublin. Gee whiz.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
that'd be a
problem
long flight.
the problem with Chicago to Dallas was, sorry, we don't serve alcohol on this flight. So there was a bit of a dip then.
Commies.
No alcohol. Just
America's
cans of
going
Coke.
downhill. You know things are going downhill when you can't drink on a flight.
Mm.
Yeah, but everybody's cutting back, I guess. Anyway, that's too funny.
Yeah. In
Hey,
terms of yourself, yep, go ahead.
sorry, Maurice. I just want to ask you before I forget, how much is a pint of Guinness in Dublin now?
It does depend on where you go, but it could be 650.
And that's Irish pounds.
No, it's euros.
Euros, 650.
Mhm.
So that's another 50, 40%. I don't know what it's trading. Wow, that's expensive.
But down here, down in the country, you'll get them for maybe 480, 490.
Really?
Yeah. It's just
Yeah.
Dublin is just gone crazy price wise.
Everything has though, mate. I couldn't even tell you. I know the last time I had a pint of Guinness, which was probably months ago. Well, have I even had one during the pandemic? Anyway, everything. Like you go to the burger. We went for burgers there last weekend. They wanted over $20 for a hamburger. $20. So a pint of Guinness, I think, was around $11. I bet you it's closer to 15 now. So yeah,
That's crazy.
but I the Guinness over here is okay, but the Guinness in Ireland, you know, I really fell in love with it. I was in the youth hostel in Dublin there, and the kid above me, and the monk, he was from Montreal, and he was crazy about Guinness. So you know, I went to St. James Gate and just got smashed. We also went to a rugby game, and we're the only two guys in the stadium there. We each had a pint. We had one each hand, glass pints, which never happens over here. And anyway, yeah. Hence the sign.
You'll be back at the sign. Here we go.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
Are you working on any projects, or have you got anything coming up maybe that you could tell people?
Mate, you know what? I was working a day here and a day there, what we call gravy days. And by gravy days, I mean you're the passenger in the car that gets out and points the gun. Like there's not a whole lot of, I'm old and fat and they don't make me beat myself up anymore. But I was working a couple of 3 days a month before the pandemic. But since the pandemic, like I haven't worked now in it's got to be 3-4 months since I worked last. And part of that is because of this weight gain. When the pandemic came, it just made my depression and boredom worse, like everybody. And I tried to eat and drink it away. And now I have to get off my ass and lose some weight because the doctors are telling me that my health's in danger. You know, I'm pre-diabetic and I'm, my different things are low and things are high. High blood pressure's higher. It should be blah, blah, blah. So I either will or I won't.
And I tell you, the one thing Canada kind of had in common with us over here in Ireland, there was very harsh lockdowns over there as well, wasn't there?
Oh,
Like shit was too crazy.
Our prime minister apparently invested in Moderna, so everybody has to get 17 shots over here now. I think we're the last country that insists on you getting tested before you come back, or at least you still got to fill out all this information like on an app. It's called ArriveCan. Everybody has to fill it out. So
we had to do that coming to the States as well, but they've since scrapped it.
Is that right? Yeah. Things are kind of back to normal now, but you know, all the flights over here are the airlines here in North America, they're canceling on thousands. And my brother and his wife just flew to Italy, but the day just before their flight, they got postponed a day. And my brother says we're going to get over there, but getting home might be a challenge, you know. And his son and my nephew's fiance, they're flying to Italy today, but their thing got pushed, and then it got, you know. So yeah, it's a different world now. That's for gosh darn sure.
Well, hopefully we're kind of at the end of all this kind of stuff, and we won't mention that C word ever again.
We won't mention the C word. Next time we meet, we'll be talking about monkeypox.
Yeah. And we'll be drinking pints of Guinness.
That's right.
Yeah.
Drink it to end it all. Absolutely.
Yeah. Brad, absolute pleasure to catch up with you today, man. Really enjoyed that chat.
Maurice, thanks so much.